Okay, here we go again. So I'm working on my little 3 owls. And last video, I showed you how to start the second row. So I've gone all the way around, second row, same color, wrapped it, and ended up back up here at my starting point. So we try to start and stop new colors or new adding beads or anything different you're going to do. We usually try to start and stop over on the side, because when you look at a basket, it goes to the middle and then up, so you're not going to notice the changeover in color so much, or whatever you're doing. So I got all the way to my second row here, went all the way around twice. I wanted it wrapped because I like to have the color of the basket bottom show or pop with the color of whatever I'm wrapping. You can just do a simple stitch every 1/4 of an inch. That's a lot quicker, a lot less thread, but I like to do it this way. You can look at other videos online. A lot of them have just the simple stitch on the bottom. So now I want to start another color. I started out with cinnamon, which kind of matches the stone that I have in the background. And then now I want to go a little bit darker, so I'm using a dark copper color. And I want to start adding beads. So here's the beads I'm going to be using. They're really bright and fun, and they have large holes. They're about a 2mm hole. So I wanted to show you how to add beads if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to add beads, you could just continue wrapping whatever color you want. Keep going around till you get your base as wide as you want it. Or you could just start going a stitch every 1/4 of an inch, and then the needle show through. So, but right now we're gonna learn how to do beads. So I've already dampened this, and I had it pinned over to try to train it, because it doesn't, it doesn't stay down, and sometimes you're fighting with it. Anyway, to put a bead, that's what we're gonna do right now. I'm just gonna continue wrapping. I think I'm gonna do about 10 wraps. And you just have to kind of figure how that bead is going to fit in there. So see, I started this darker color here, and it blends very well. But then I'm going to want to go put this bead in here. And I'm trying to gauge, do I need to have a few more? I think I need a few more wraps for it to fit in there. So I'm going to go around about 5 more times. I always just keep my beads in a little bowl, because I've had them in, I have them in these little containers where I have a bunch of different beads, and many times I've hit it and knocked the whole thing over. So at least if I have this little bowl that I end up knocking over, it's not going to be that bad. So let me get a few more stitches here. I think I'm going to go up to 15. And then once I decide how many stitches or wraps I'm going to go around, how many times I'm going to go around, I try to keep that through the whole next row. So every 15, stitches or wraps, then I'll add a bead. And that kind of gives me my gauge. So I think there was 15. I think I'll go 16 just to give it. So there you go. So we've got a little open area that we're going to stick the bead in. So now you have to go all the way to the end. So when you're adding a bead, you go down through the bead, hook it to the bottom, then you've got to go back up. This is why we're always looking for beads with larger holes, because you want to be able to get through them. You don't want to have to bore them bigger or anything like that. It's just a hassle. So here we go. I'm going to go right back down, even with where I stopped the upper stitch. I have to use my little grabbers because my hands hurt. And pull it all the way down through. Nestle your bead between the 2 rows, the 2 wrapped rows. So if you were just doing a stitch every 1/4 of an inch, you could do the same thing. Just go down about every 1/4 of an inch if that's where you want to nestle the bead. But I like to, it's easier if you wrap, because you have more, it makes it more stable, and you have something to attach it to. So then here, you're not just going to go back up to the top row, you're going to go back through the bead. And this is why it's important to have big holes. It's just so much easier. So there, see, it was a little tight, but not too bad. Can we get tangled? Yes, we do. And we've got a knot. So, okay. I got to take it out. Let's start over here. Somehow we got a knot. So the only thing you could do to get that out of there, go backwards a little bit. So see, here's a little knot here. I'm going to pull. I might have to start this over because I don't want you waiting for so long for me. So you just got to loosen it up and pull it out. Get your needle back on there. Here we go. Okay, let's try that again. So you're down here, your bead, it's tight. Go back up through the hole. Can you see that? Pull it back up. Feed it through. Be careful so you don't get any more knots. And I always pull down this side to make sure it's tight and then back up. There. It's nice and snug in there. So sometimes the first one looks a little wonky because you're starting out the row, but it's okay. It loosens up a little bit. So then I just wrap again. I think I did 15 or 16. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's move some of this stuff. 8. And I always push it down tight. Well, that was 16, 17. Okay, so 16. Okay, so I'm doing about 16. Let's see if this is going to work. Let's just kind of test it. So if I put that bead down there, that should work okay. So we're going about 16, and I just try to keep the pattern, you know, but sometimes depending on what you're matching up down below, you have to go a little bit more, a little bit less. But if you kind of go with the same pattern, it tends to work better. So I'm doing about 16. So then I'm going to go down here and I want to make sure that I'm getting right straight across. So I just go through a couple of the threads. I use my little pliers to pull it through because sometimes it's tight. And I get my bottoms pretty snug. Some people don't, but I try to get them pretty snug. So I think that's going to look about right. 16. And we'll just continue going on around like that and try to snug it up. So we'll go right back through the bottom of the bead, up through the top. Watch your string so we don't get another knot because we don't want to go through that again. And it's just easier not to get them in. So then I pull this bottom tight so it pulls the top row down. Snug it up like that, and then go back to wrapping. Now, you do have to remember to still keep adding your pine needles. And remember, try to always add the shiny side up, because if you're not wrapping, you just want a better look. You don't want the rough. See how the inside is rough? If you put them shiny side up, it's a lot better. It looks a lot better when you're not wrapping and they show through. So So if you're wrapping, it really kind of doesn't matter. I just get in the habit of it. So then I'm gonna just continue wrapping. Go on to 16. See, this is why we keep our gauge on here. It holds the needles in so you're not fighting with them. And it also helps you gauge, you know, to make sure you're keeping it full. Okay, I think that's 16. We're gonna get another bead, and I'm just straightening out my string so that I don't get any. And here we go. Here's another bead. I do a lot of turning around. So then you go down, you're gonna go straight across, pick up a thread or two, pull it through, get your bead down in there tight. Make sure everything's all tightened up in there. You need a lot of fingers to do this, so helps when they all work good. But okay, so back up through. Sometimes it gets a little tight to get the needle through if the hole's not big enough, and you can use your pliers or whatever works for you. So see, I'm pulling that main thread tight down there and then pulling the loose one up and over because I want to hold this whole next row tight. Just keep everything secure, tight. And so that's what it's looking like. I love those beads. I love that brown color, and it's just going to make the bottom pop even more. So here, see, you can't hardly see the changeover. They're two different colors, but you can hardly see the changeover. It's just a bit darker. And I'm just trying to copy this caramel colors in here and use those browns and just keep it similar and flowing. Okay, I'm gonna go and add all the beads, and then I'll show you how to tie off when we get right back over here. We're just gonna leave a little extra space so it can slowly flow down into the next row. Okay, I think that's it for this video, and I'll check in with you in a little bit. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.